I did one video saying the most important thing in personal finance, and I do think that speaking at home about money, telling your brothers, sisters that you want the money, don't want the money, that you need the money, or you're in trouble, right? Or asking your parent for help, and then offering to say that I need some money now, please give it to me. After you die, whenever you're going to do the settlement, please cut it out from me. Even making written agreements makes sense, because if one of the person dies, the other person doesn't even know. Imagine the father has lent money to a son for education, and then the son dies, and the father, while making the will, tells his widow that look, your husband had taken this much money, so I'm not including in the will, or to that portion I'm reducing. She may not be knowing, she may be intimidated, she may be looking forward to that inheritance. So sometimes even having it in writing helps. Even from an income tax point of view, having it in writing with the PAN number and all that. I have seen my friends doing that when they are lending money to other friends. I think it makes sense to do proper documentation so that everybody knows, so that the man making the, let's say the father is giving 10 lakhs to one son. The father knows, the mother knows, the son who is borrowing knows, his wife knows. Maybe the others need not know, the other siblings need not know. But in the will, you have to make a statement saying, okay, therefore I am giving 20 lakhs to one son, 20 lakhs to another son, and 10 lakhs to this son, because 10 lakhs I had already given it to him and I had treated it as a gift and not as a loan. So he has not repaid, he has not paid interest. That was not the intention, but this is what we have done. I do think some of these things are necessary. So here is a good letter or a comment from somebody who calls himself Bhave's Biology. He says, on the spot, this is what when my father told us, 3 brothers, all of you should give 1/3 of your money to me for my maintenance and for my day-to-day living, and as your contribution to the financial part of the house. I mean, they were all in a joint family, so each son was contributing an X amount, which is a percentage of income. See that. So one son is earning 1 lakh, one son is earning 50,000, one son is earning 10,000. So then they pay 30,000, 17,000 and 3,000, which is a very, very sensible way of splitting expenses, because obviously the person who earns more pays more. So between husband and wife also, if you're going to spend money jointly, the husband pays a bigger share if he's earning more, the wife pays a bigger share if she is earning more. Right, so get that very clear, that the person who earns more pays more. This is socialism. Socialism works in the family, it does not work in the country, right? So socialism does not work even in a joint family. That is why joint families broke up. People were saying, why should I pay for my brother's problems, right? It sounds very odd, but that is the reason why we broke the joint family, and now we are wondering where to leave the children. Should we put them in a creche? Should we senior citizen care centers we look for it, right? So because we don't have the joint family, and families are also small. Like I don't have a brother at all. With whom am I going to live in the joint family, right? I have a lot of people who are single kids. There's no question of a joint family, right, in many such cases. So his father said pay so much money, and later when they bought their house, they went away. He gave them money for buying that house. Perhaps same money came as inherited money after demise. After demise of father and mother, my father didn't give us any cash, and he did not give any cash to the brother who got the house. Very sensible. Very few people, I do not know what is his father's age, but I'm assuming if he has died and he's given all this, he must have been 77, maybe 75 years of age. So people of that age being able to talk so clearly about money. My grandfather was one like that. My grandmother used to maintain the accounts, and she would say, oh, this is some special cream. I don't know how many of you remember something called Brill cream. So this Brill cream would come out of my dad's salary, because my dad was the person who was supposed to be using it. Whether other used it, didn't use it, didn't matter. But this was considered a luxury item and was bought for somebody who specifically said, I want Brill cream, right? So those kind of branded goods purchase but nowadays we don't live in a joint family, so this is not a great skill. But talking to parents about money, and parents' responsibility of talking to children about money, whether they can afford foreign education, whether they can afford foreign vacation, why they bought a bigger car, why they have a smaller car, whatever it is, make sure that the kids understand what you're doing, because kids are Kids understand. Kids at the 8-year-old and the 7-year-old understand what you're doing. When my daughter used to be young, I used to take her to the shop and make her pay so that it improved her math, right? So 3rd standard onwards, if she was told go down, buy bread, buy milk, buy this, she would take a piece of paper, calculate 100 minus all this, how much will I get back? So she knew that number. So she had to work, right? So there was no question of teaching her math in a class. She was working her math, right? So talk about money is very useful, whether it is your children or your parents. Understand how much money they need, how much money you have. Tell your parents what will work, what will fly, what will not fly. You want to go abroad on a vacation, maybe you can afford business class ticket, but you can't afford first class ticket. So they should know what you can afford, what you can't afford, and you should talk about it. We not talking about finance is a big crime, right? So yeah, and so he says no financial planner told us about this. My father told me, and I'm feeling very. So he says I love your videos. When I tell this to my friends and other people, they get shocked by such thoughts of my father, but now they are convinced that it is right. Absolutely. When you're especially when you have 2-3 children, it's necessary that each child knows what you are doing, right? I mean, the other children should know what one child. If one child is handling the finances for the parent, the other child should also take enough interest to learn. Good information, difficult. So when my parents are uneducated, how can I tell them? Boss, don't talk about education as a barrier to learning, right? Being uneducated, your parents have brought you up, made you an engineer, sent you abroad, or sent you in India for higher education. I'm sure they understand it. It's a question of you seeing my video, understanding, assimilating, and then translating it for them in your language, right? Whichever language suits them, right? Your mother tongue, or whether it is Hindi, or whether it is Tamil, it is for you to read or watch my blog, understand, and then be able to talk to your parents. It's not impossible to do that. What are your views of the semi-final loss? It's a joke, so let's just forget it. One more thing, sir. You talk of 1 crore so easily. Seems a lot of richer clients. What talk about the people with lakhs and thousands? So Arunachala Shiva says almost everybody in metro cities have 4 or 5 people employed. Therefore, mother, father, 2 grown-up kids. They make 50 lakhs, 60 lakhs per annum. So these kind of numbers are not difficult to understand. You seem to be having false conception of poor people. Well, poor people don't really come to this site to watch how to invest, right? And I don't do much on whether to borrow and all that. I've done recently, but very few. I mean, I don't think anybody comes to this channel to say how to borrow for buying a two-wheeler. That is not the category of audience which I am addressing. Nothing right or wrong, but many of my people watching this have BMWs and Audis and Mercedes and things like that. Are they going to be intimidated by numbers in crores? Right today, if you have to send your kid abroad for an Ivy League education, it's going to cost you 2 crore plus. With the appreciation of the dollar and all that, let's say make it 2 crore 20 lakhs. Somebody who can put away 2 crore 20 lakhs today for the education will need to put, say, 8 crores after a few years for educating their children. So if 8 crores is your children education budget, 10 crores is your own retirement budget, and etc., etc., the numbers are big. So what happens, I have no clue what happens when a person is earning, say, 7-8 lakhs per year, or 7-8 lakhs is too high. So say, because here people ask me for what happens to a person who is earning 10,000 rupees a month. I honestly do not know what happens to them. So I cannot create a video for bottom of the pyramid. I don't know how they live. If somebody else comes, gives me inputs, maybe I'll be able to do. Right now, I'm perfectly incapable of doing something like that. Thank you.